I'm working with some classical music. I'm working with metal. I don't like a lot of metal today. I'm more old school. I like the original artists that pushed limits back in the early 90s. I think that a lot of metal these days is just cookie cutter music, well, whatever you want to call it. Fuck, I don't know. Anyway, I'm mostly dedicating these videos, these tutorials, or whatever you want to call them, for people that are more old school, that are still going back to their roots that they grew up with. I'm also using modern technology. I'm using a lot of MIDI. I'm using VST instruments. I'm using processes to use a couple different workarounds with things where we just don't quite hit the mark that we want to hit. That's very common with vocals, just almost hitting the right note and then needing to fix it. It's also the same with playing the violin, and I have a couple notes that are uncertain, and I don't like that uncertain sound, and it's just my limited playing. I am a lot more confident playing the lower notes on the violin in a certain scale, and I can play fast, I can play heavy like that. It sounds okay, the tone sounds good, the audio quality sounds good, until I get up to a certain point where I can't fucking play that note. So as a workaround, I will use MIDI. I'll limit my playing to what I can play that I'm confident in playing, and then I'll use another violin track that's MIDI to hit higher notes that I can't normally hit. I gotta do what I gotta do. And one of the results is that I'm able to have some choppy playing on the violin, and I'm combining that with the smoother sound of the MIDI instruments, MIDI violins. Some of the instruments sound really, really nice. The MIDI modern bands who are very technical and very precise, and you can get a studio quality sound by hooking up an effects processor right into your computer. Sure, why not? But what I was missing was the atmosphere, the sound of the room, the underground sound that I really, really missed back in the 90s. And I've been finding some groups on Facebook that I didn't even discover before that. I thought, these are my people. This is something I've been missing. And I brought in all of my know-how about how to record an album, and they're like, "You're full of shit. That's not a good sound." And so I thought, well, what's wrong with the digital sound, you know? And what I found out is that I need to make an amp. And I have one, but I thought, well, I'm living in an apartment. Like, how can I gotta wait for a buddy to get off work or whatever and go over to his place and record over there, and there's no time to jam and all this other stuff. And I'm like, you know what, you can do it. I found I wasn't pushing myself enough, and so what I did was I found a way to record things, and you can combine different things.
Alright, before I get started, I'm just going to give you an idea of what I'm working on here. I have a little amp here that I really like using. I bought it for about $450 or so. It wasn't that much. I'm liking it. I'm going to give you an idea of what I'm doing here. Basically, I like this amp because it doesn't have any distortion on it and things like that. It just has what you hear is what you get. And when I plug an effects processor into it, I don't have anything plugged in right now, but I can get a nice sounding distortion, and it plays really nicely because I got a whole bunch of different things here that I can work with. This can kind of give it a rich, warm tone. Depth is something that you'd have to hear it to get an idea of what it is. But it's got a nice, rich sound that I really like, and I can give it a little bit more bite with, plugging it into this one here, or I can
plug it into a more cleaner sound. The tone really is nice because if I turn it up too loud, I get a lot of more of a raspy sound. Depth is depth. I don't know. You'd have to hear it for it to make sense. But I can't just go full out and crank that up and turn this texture all the way up, because what happened was that I get too much static and too much. It doesn't sound good. What I want is a rich tone. I want nice rich sounds coming from the effects processor, and I have to adjust that before it comes into the amp here. But what I ended up doing was this wasn't enough when I turned it down like that, but I turned it, just halfway. I cranked that up. I was playing around with it, and I got, pretty much just where I like it. I cranked that up pretty loud or whatever. But I had headphones on just to get the best idea of what the condenser mic was picking up, and I can't just follow a formula like the mic has to be 2 inches away from the speaker and things like that, because it just doesn't work. But I found the middle of the, I put it close to the middle of the amp, and then I heard how it sounded, and I thought, well, is this where I want it, or do I want it, up higher more? Do I want it a bit further away? Do I want it closer? I found that what I really wanted to do here was to get like a right in-your-face sort of sound, and so I ended up bringing the mic really close to the center and kind of off a little bit, and I just experimented, and I got a nice, full, rich, crispy, right up close sound, and that's what I wanted. And another thing is that this here, it's by Presonus. This is a tube thing, so that also kind of helps a little bit to get a good sound out of the condenser mic, but it's got, drive and gain and a couple other things. This really helped a lot to get a good sound. But that's only half of it, because what I ended up doing was the condenser mic goes into the left channel of the USB interface, and the right channel is a little bit more complicated. Bear with me here just a second. What I got is I ended up using a direct in from the effects processor, and it comes into here, so I'm getting, this is for, okay, the condenser mic is the left channel, this here is the right channel. I got a little bit of the direct in for that natural sound without the room. I also was able to turn on the left microphone here and the right microphone into these tracks here, so I'm picking up the room a little bit, and I was able to get a fairly good room sound. And so I'm blending all of this with the right side and the condenser mic with the left side, and I'll show you what I did in the digital audio workstation. I ended up with 2 simultaneous tracks, and I was able to isolate the left and the right. If you look closely here, this part of this track here is the mic'd guitar. This right side is the Zoom R16. What happens is that I'm unable to isolate just the one track like that. So what I do is I duplicate the track, which is what you see here. These 2 tracks are identical. The trick that I use to isolate just the left side is this thing here. It's a mix 6-2. I have the left channel and the right channel. I have the master volume here. What I've done is I've reduced all of those, and I've just brought up the left channel. So this track right here, if I select it, will just play just the left side, right? And but then it's just going to play in the left the left speaker, right? Or if you have headphones on, you'll just hear it on the left. So I have to convert the mono to stereo, and I do that with this utility here. Okay, so that's that for that track, and I need to do the same but the opposite for this one. So it's going to play the right side. Now what I do, so this is the second track. I've increased the right channel. There's the master volume. So now I'm able to isolate the amp and the room sound. This one here is the room sound. This is the amp, right? So what I'm able to do in the whole mix is I gradually bring up the volume of the room sound, so that I get the room sound, and I also get the in-your-face sound of the mic right up close to the amp. And that's all just preference and things like that, but I'm able to get a lot more of an honest sound out of the guitar, and that's way better than just using an effects processor plugged into the digital audio workstation. I'd never go back. The sound is it's full. I don't even need to use any reverb anymore. I've got good compression, I've got an amp simulator, which I use very sparingly. I've got some. The next step that I want to do is to put in some strumming acoustic guitar. So I got, yeah, it's an acoustic guitar anyway. It's an electric acoustic. It actually sounds pretty nice just by itself. Like I can mic it, and I can also do the direct line thing there. So I have an interesting approach in what I want to do. It's kind of combining two different approaches on getting a sound out of it. I'm using a condenser mic, and I got that connected up to this thing here, and I'm getting a good sound where I'm just picking up the pickup on the guitar. I'm also picking up a little bit of the room sound here, but I'm also really concentrating. You can hear like a pin drop with the condenser microphone. It's amazing. But I'm not just using two microphones. I'm using this to pick up the room sound. I'm plugging in the guitar into track 1 here, and I'm also picking up the right microphone and the left microphone. And so those are two other microphones, plus the other condenser mic, plus the direct line. I'm getting a really, really good sound out of just this room. And I know that some people curse up and down, and they swear that they need to have the foam padding on the walls and things like that. I don't really work with that too much. I don't have the right kind of environment. Like, sometimes I stop the recording of this camera right now because the fucking ambulance goes by, because, there are things like that happen. I work with the limitations of the environment that I have. I don't have the money or the time to invest in building a studio. It's not going to happen. I really don't give a shit. Some people, they have to really concentrate on that because their specialty is they're recording acoustic instruments, they're recording a person singing live into the mic and things like that. I don't really work with that too much in Doombeard. I'm lucky in that way, and that's just the way it is. But I like to bring some of the dynamics of using an acoustic guitar to deviate from the electric guitar and the bass guitar and the VST instruments and things like that. That's why I really don't have a lot of a preference for modern metal. Like, I like the old school metal, the old school rock, things like that. I can't sing by way of a paper bag, but I don't give a shit. Like,